Much like with other types of media, video games have a wide variety of genres out there for them. You got platformers, shooters, action-adventure games, RPGs, action RPGs, open-world games, Lego games, sports games, racing games, fighting games, stealth games, novel games, walking simulators, puzzle games, card games, wannabe movie games, story-driven games. As you can see, there is a massive wide variety amount of video game genres out there for many people to play and enjoy. And while I listed a good amount just now, there is one more genre of gaming that I forgot to mention, and that genre just happens to be one of my favorite genres of gaming to ever exist. That genre being combat games.
Oh, that's a lot of blood.
Alongside platformers, fighting games, racing games, and action RPGs, combat games are up there with some of my favorite game genres out there. If you don't know what a combat game is, well then again, how could you know considering in today's landscape of gaming? Combat games are pretty much games where they have a very nice and simple but varied combat system where combos are achievable and super satisfying to pull off against enemies. And the more combos you do, the higher score you get, and it's progressively more challenging as the game goes on. In other words, you're going to be fighting a lot. The best way I can describe combat games is that they're kind of like Smash Brothers a little bit, where it's easy to pick up but tough to master. These kinds of games have very simple gameplay, but its combat can be very complex. While yes, most games normally have some form of a combat system within them made to where you can fight off enemies in that game and whatnot, and sure, those are made well in their own way. However, when the game is mainly built around the combat system and is the main focus of the game, this is where things get pretty interesting. Not only because of how easy they are to get into, but it's the big depth to combat focused games with multiple pieces of tech and skill involved with these games is what makes them so cool to get into. Like most people, when they see these games, they automatically assume, oh, I'm just mindlessly killing things. Ah, so cool. Why is nobody being over emotional? But that's kind of the appeal with them, really. The simple gameplay that has a lot of depth behind it is really fun and satisfying to figure out and do more with your moves and weapons than then master the combat. See, games like Sonic Unleashed tried to do this, but the biggest problem with that game is the whole combat system is very clunky and not the most fun in the world. Now, take games like God of War, which is what it's mainly inspired upon, and you see how much smooth it is and is more fluent as well. The God of War trilogy is probably one of my favorite examples of combat games, mainly because of how they handle combat so perfectly alongside with what else these games have to offer. From platforming to puzzle solving and overall traversing through the worlds, combat in these games are some of the best combat I've ever played in games. Hardly anything holds it back, and it's so dang fun to mess around with every time you pick up and play. The best part about the trilogy of God of War games is that these games are pretty easy to pick up, but tough to master. I've been playing these gaming classics since 2021, and I'm still finding new combat methods from God of War 2 that came out in 2007. That's how you know you got a good combat system, ladies and gentlemen, because Santa Monica once knew how to make some pretty awesome games. And now they just make movies! Not just God of War. There is all kinds of great combat games out there that are so much fun, like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta, Ninja Gaiden, and one of my all-time favorites, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. These games aren't on the same level of combat like God of War, but they are still a lot of fun. From Dante's sword and gun gameplay combo to Bayonetta's guns for high heels action, Ninja Gaiden's, ninja-esque combat and gameplay. I mean, it gets the job done. You feel like a ninja playing this. And of course, Raiden's approach to combat from Metal Gear Rising. This game is so darn fun with its combat, from the way it's set up to how fights go down to even the fact that, unlike the others in some cases, this game has a lot of strategy to it. Some instances, from my experience, enemies can be so annoying, I straight up don't want to fight them. I do what I can to run away from them and go around them, or take them out the stealthy way to avoid the fight entirely. Haha, suck on that, you, legs. What's unfortunate with combat games nowadays is that they're pretty rare in the current scene of gaming. Very rarely you'll see a game that's all focused around on combat like in the 6th and 7th generation of consoles. Nowadays, a lot of stuff is somewhat more of a cinematic experience, for better or worse. A lot more worse, really. Regardless, with combat games, there's always this fun that always comes with them, and that's what I love about them the most, is the fun they bring. That's one of the big things I look for with a game, being, am I having fun? And these combat games always manage to do just that, and allow me to have some good fun with some well-made games by some really talented devs. Hang on, wait a minute. I mean, See, I would be saying this, but Ninja Gaiden 4 is a thing, so, you know. Yeah. So Santa Monica, where's that God of War remastered trilogy? Come on now.